Oftentimes we have a numeric value that we'd like to display to a certain number of decimal points. And so I have a variable here called area, which is a number data type variable, and its value I assigned as simply 126.4589. I'd like to display that in a text box, a dynamic text box, which we'll call txt area, and I'm going to display it in the text property as to 2 decimal places, so that number should display as 126.46. Now in a previous video on the math class, I showed that you could use the floor method and take the value and multiply it by 100, which would give us 12,645.89. The floor value would take the integer under that, so it's going to truncate the 0.89, and then we divide by 100, and we get 126.45. Now in that case, it didn't really round up. So really a better way to do this, then I took that value and used the .toString method and applied it to the text property of our txt area text box. But like I said, this didn't truncate properly that way into 126.46. So really a better way to do that is to use another method called toFixed. And in this case, I don't need to go through those machinations of the formula of multiplying by 100 and dividing by 100. Instead, I can just simply take my numeric variable, in this case area, use the toFixed method, and in the parentheses put the number of decimal places that I want. And that would convert this 126.4589 to be displayed as 126.46. Well, let's try this in a project. So I have a text box, an input text box named input_txt, and I've placed a default value in there of 321.456789. I'd like to display that as 2 decimal places in our dynamic text box down here named output_txt, and I have a submit button that when I click will take this value and format it for 2 decimals and display it here. Let's take a look at the code. So I'm getting the text property of my input_txt text box, which is a string value. I'm casting that into a number and assigning it to a variable called myInput, which is a number data type variable. Then I'm going to use that in a concatenation for my output. So I've got a string here that says formatted for 2 decimals with a colon and a space. And then I'm taking my input, which is a number variable, and applying the toFixed method, and I'm telling it with the 2 in the parentheses to display that as rounded to 2 decimals. Let's try it. I click submit, and my output is formatted for 2 decimals, 321.46.